All right. It looks like that we are live. Hopefully it's working. You guys let me know if everything's coming through okay and you can hear me okay. Uh, you know, we're new over here on YouTube, but that's okay. We've got a lot to talk about today. Let me actually start recording. All right, so we are now recording, and I think I'm just going to get started. I'm not going to wait around because that means there's less for me to edit out at the beginning. All right, on episode 389. No, that's a lie. It's 390. On episode 390 of Nintendo Switchcraft, Superhot tries to pull a fast one. Yacht Club Games teases King Knight, and we've got a mountain of feedback. Those stories and more on this episode of Nintendo Switchcraft. Stick around.
Hey, this is Michael Stefano from Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and you're listening to Nintendo Switchcraft.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Switchcraft. It's brought to you live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. And on Saturday, we've got Saturday Switchcraft live over here on youtube.com/runjumpstomp. If you haven't followed me on Twitch or subscribed to me over on YouTube, make sure that you do. And if you're watching this on YouTube right now, make sure that you hit that like button down below because that really does help out. This episode of Switchcraft is made possible by patrons like Love My Nest. Get Switchcraft and my other content ad-free for as little as $1 by joining the Patreon over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. And you can also leave a voicemail for the show, just like you heard at the beginning, from any device. Head on over to runjumpstomp.com/voicemail, and I may even play it on the show. With all that out of the way, I want to remind everybody that we are currently doing a giveaway. The giveaway will happen on the 31st of August, which is actually inconvenient because I will not be around. I will be at Dragon Con at that point, but I'll figure out a way to do it anyway. But we're going to do a giveaway on August 31st, and if you are interested in winning a $10 eShop gift card, head on over to runjumpstomp.com/giveaway for more information on what to do there. With all of that gone, let's get started.
My puppet body is ready.
All right, everybody. Let's start with... all right. Nintendo needs to address this. This is something that has happened before, and it's going to keep happening. And without a doubt, this is something that Nintendo needs to address because if they don't, developers will either continue to abuse this or through negligence end up doing this. And I'm not sure which is the case here. And if you don't know what I'm talking about Superhot. Superhot is a game that was just recently announced, and it's coming to Nintendo Switch, or actually it's already on Nintendo Switch. But if you go to the eShop and you look at the ad that they have for Superhot there, they used PC footage in the ad on the eShop, which is really problematic and not something that should be allowed to do. And the way that we can tell that it's PC footage is because on the bottom it says press R to restart instantly. That's PC stuff. That's not the R button. That's hitting the R button on your keyboard. Now, when I look at this, I assume that whoever was in charge of making the ad just probably didn't think about it. But it's definitely something that has happened before. We have seen games load up, or not load up, but put PC footage. There was the one that was the spiritual successor to Castlevania, Blood of the Moon, I think is the name of the game. I had it in my brain just a second ago, and now I lost it. But that game had PS4 footage in the eShop, and that's almost like false advertising because we know that the Switch is less powerful than the PS4. We know that the Switch is less powerful than the PC, and the graphics probably don't look like that on the Switch. Are graphics the most important thing? In my opinion, not really. However, to some people it is. And if somebody's going to look and be like, oh, this game looks like this, then they buy it and it doesn't look like that, that is false advertising. And it needs to be something that Nintendo says, you cannot do this. And if you do, there will be some kind of penalty, whatever that penalty might be. Now, let's talk about specifically Superhot. Superhot is an extremely minimalistic game with very, very few colors. And honestly, there's not tons going on the screen. It's incredibly stylistic. And because it's so stylistic, I think that the visuals, and I have not played it on PC, I've not played it on PS4 or Xbox or virtual reality or on Switch. I've not played Superhot yet. But if I were to guess, I would say that the game probably looks the same on all platforms because it's so minimalistic and it's not going for hyperrealism. In fact, the game actually kind of has like this aesthetic that everybody's made out of glass, which works really well when you've got low poly count models in the game, because then those low poly count models will they look like the polygons are coming together and making all these points. It looks like glass. It makes perfect sense. So my guess is that this isn't really going to look all that different from the PC version on the Switch. And if it does, and I'm wrong, please let me know, either in the comments section down below if you're watching this on YouTube, or get a hold of me on Twitter at RunJumpStomp, or you can email me runjumpstomp@gmail.com and let me know if you have played the game and it looked on both platforms or multiple platforms, and you think that it looks significantly worse on the Switch. And if that's the case, then we've really got a problem. My biggest problem is the fact that Nintendo allows stuff like this to happen. We catch it, and I understand. Nintendo has a small number of people that vet the stuff before they go on the eShop, and then when the trailers or the advertisements go out on the internet, millions of people then see it, and somebody's going to catch an issue then. But it should be something that Nintendo says you can't do this because it's false advertising. And hopefully we find out later on that it was just a mistake. And that's what I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming that Superhot just made a mistake, and it will be fixed shortly. At least I hope so. Fingers crossed. Let's move on and talk about a game that I have been talking about for a long time, and that's Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is one of my favorite indie games that I have played ever. I have it on PC. I have it on Switch, and it is incredibly good side-scrolling platformer. If you've never played it, I want you to imagine if somebody made an NES game today for modern consoles, but made it with the restrictions of the NES days. And that's what Shovel Knight feels like to me. It's wonderfully made, very, very nostalgic, and basically you play as this guy who has a shovel as his weapon, and he can jump up into the air and hold the shovel down below him and hit enemies on top, almost like Scrooge McDuck could in the DuckTales games, in the DuckTales game. And now all I can think of is the moon theme, like that's going through my head, so it's going to be very distracting. But my son and I, when the Switch first came out, I bought Shovel Knight, and he and I sat down and we played Shovel Knight from beginning to end. We played the whole thing multiplayer. It was incredibly fun. Yacht Club Games actually had kickstarted Shovel Knight when they made it, and they had all these stretch goals, and the stretch goals included things like extra characters that you could play through as. So they included Plague Knight and Spectre Knight, and then there was King Knight. Now, when my son and I finished Shovel Knight playing through that multiplayer, we immediately loaded up Spectre Knight to try that one out, and they didn't have multiplayer in that mode. So we checked Plague Knight, didn't have it in that mode either. I'm anticipating that King Knight probably won't have any any multiplayer either, which is disappointing, but that's okay. It's still a fantastic game. And when I'm talking about these extra characters, it's not simply that Yacht Club Games changed the sprite to some other character. Every character that you can play in the game moves differently, has different abilities, and not only that, but they completely redid every single level in the game to take advantage of the different ways that the characters moved and the different abilities that they had. So if you play through Shovel Knight as Shovel Knight and then you play through Shovel Knight as Spectre Knight, that second time through, it's essentially different levels. And I'm sure that that's what they're doing with King Knight as well. They announced King Knight a really long time ago, and we've just been sitting here waiting, and they just kept saying, well, we'll let you know when it's ready. And I'm happy that they're taking their time and doing it right. And I was fully expecting to hear about Shovel Knight King Knight on the most recent Indie World, but we didn't. And I was like, okay, well, I guess Yacht Club Games is still working on it, and that's okay. I've got enough to play. I don't need the distraction anyway. But then they tweeted out this yesterday, I think. Yeah, this tweet came out yesterday. I'm opening it up right now. And it's from Yacht Club Games. And they said, we've got a treasure trove of news to share. Join us this Wednesday, August 28th at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, as we dig into upcoming Yacht Club Games products, including new Shovel Knight news. And I gotta say, I'm very, very excited for this. This is, I'm loving this idea. Actually, let me look at my calendar real quick. August 28th. So yeah, that's on Wednesday. I have a show that day. I'm usually, when I'm on summer vacation, because if for those of you that don't know, I'm a teacher. I usually record the show just whenever I get around to it, but I may delay recording Switchcraft on that day until later on in the day, just so that I can have watched this first beforehand. That being said, I'm also going to be packing for Dragon Con, and that gives me time in the morning to get that done. MH in chat, in the live chat. I'm recording this live over at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/runjumpstomp. MH in chat saying Shadow Drop. That would be really awesome if they said, and it's available today. However, I think that is unlikely. And here's why I think that that's unlikely, MH. The reason I think it's unlikely is because they have those Amiibo. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Shovel Knight Amiibo, or the King Knight Amiibo. Let me open it up so I can see. If I think it came in a packet of 3. The King Knight Amiibo. I'm trying to open it. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah. So that was announced a really long time ago, and it came in a package where you could get the King Knight, the Plague Knight, and the Spectre Knight all in one package. And people ordered these things a really, really long, like an insanely long time ago. You would assume that these things would deliver on the launch day. So doing a shadow drop doesn't make a lot of sense for that, because then people would have already gotten shipment notifications. Hey, by the way, your Amiibo has shipped, and we would have heard about that. So I don't anticipate that we're getting a shadow drop for this. I do anticipate that it's going to be sometime this year, because we have had a release date of December 31st, 2019, which is typically what they do, is they use a placeholder release date. So sometime in 2019 is when the King Knight DLC is going to come out. But I'm really excited for this game, and I'm definitely going to be playing it, and I'm definitely going to be talking about it. And I love Shovel Knight, and it makes me want to go back and play more of Shovel Knight, because honestly, I had so much fun with the core Shovel Knight game. playing that multiplayer with my son, couch co-op, that moving on to Spectre Knight and Plague Knight just wasn't as fun to me. But enough time has passed now that I think that if I sat down and try and played those games solo, I probably would enjoy it again. And the same goes for King Knight. So on Wednesday, we're going to find out, I think, when the actual launch day for King Knight is. And hopefully there's enough time. We've got Zelda coming, so probably not. But hopefully there's enough time that I can play through Spectre Knight and Plague Knight before King Knight drops, because I'm really looking forward to that game. I think it's awesome. And I want to hear what you guys think about the Shovel Knight games. Have you played them? Will this be your first experience with them? Do you think I'm crazy? Just let me know in the comment section or through Twitter. All right. Speaking of Twitter, I have got lots and lots of feedback from you guys. I got emails, YouTube comments, tweets, all in my show notes here. So I'm going to tackle all that right now. I keep putting it off because I kept talking too much in the previous episodes, and I kept saying, well, we'll get to the comments next time. So today we're going to get to all those comments. But before we do, I'm going to take a break. We'll hear from a sponsor. And when we come back, all of your feedback and maybe even some live chat. All right, stick around.
It's two-player fun on the split screen, only for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now when you're playing with power, superpower.
All right, everybody, we are back, and it's time for feedback. And I think what I might end up doing, I may change the Saturday show. This is just an idea that I had just now. I may change the Saturday show so that I'm not doing any feedback Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. The Saturday's always going to be feedback. And maybe what I'll, in addition to that, I'll also do live chat questions after the show as well. So make sure that you go to youtube.com/runjumpstomp and subscribe. All right. Feedback. We got a message here from Ralph Martinez, and these are not in the order that they came. Just sometimes when I'm building my show notes, I just put stuff in random places. So Ralph Martinez sent me a tweet. They said, at RunJumpStomp, hey, Bill, a couple of things. First, I hate your shorter episodes. I know it's just selfish of me, but they keep me sane at work, and I guess I just want more. I'm going to reply to that first before I get to the rest of their comment. I understand. Whenever I am listening to some of my favorite podcasts, I'm like, oh, man, I hate that it's over. But I have had so much feedback that people say they like the short format because they can listen to it on their commute, and it wouldn't. It's a lot of times they look at other shows and they're like, an hour and a half show, that's overwhelming. I can't get through that. I'm going to listen to this short show instead. And that really does, like, a lot of feedback from people has been that they like the short shows spaced out over the week. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. So, but thank you for the kind words, Ralph. I appreciate it. Almost kind of like I prefer short games to long games, because every time I look at a long game, I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to get through this. Like Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'm like 35 hours into that game right now, and I don't see the end coming in sight anytime soon. And sometimes I just wish that it was over already, not because I'm not enjoying the game, but because it's just so long and I want to move on to something else. But anyway, let's get back to Ralph's comment. Ralph said, when do I think Castle Crashers will be released for the Switch? That is a wonderful question, and it's something I was really hoping to find out from the indie world, but it was just chirps. There was crickets, no news about Castle Crashers coming to the Nintendo Switch yet. I mean, we know that it is coming, but we don't know when it's coming, and that is definitely a game, like an awesome community game that I would love to be able to play with our community. By the way, if you haven't joined our community yet, you should, over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. That's where the giveaway is happening, by the way. But no, I have not heard when Castle Crashers is coming out. I would like the idea of it coming out probably in January. For me, I think that the second half of this year is just way too crowded. There's so much stuff in the second half of this year that launching a game like Castle Crashers, it's going to get buried. Now, that's true for the Switch. However, what we have to remember is that Castle Crashers is a multi-platform game. It's also coming out for PlayStation, and I think it's also coming out for Xbox. I'm 99% sure it's coming out for Xbox as well. When Castle Crashers comes out, they're probably not going to use the Switch as, you know, the crowdingness, that's a word now. How crowded the second half of the year is as a decision a decision point for when they're going to launch their game, because they have other platforms to worry about. But if it were me and I were in charge, I would say launch that in January when things have calmed down. Plus, you're going to have a lot of brand new Switches that people got for Christmas, and people are going to want to be able to buy games for that. They're going to have a lot of gift cards that you know, grandma and grandpa got for them, or, you know, like kids got for parents, you know, so they'll end up buying games on the eShop, and that's a really good way to spend your money is on Castle Crashers. And if you don't know what Castle Crashers is, it's this really fun 4-player co-op brawler in the theme of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time game, or the Simpsons side-scrolling brawler, or the X-Men side-scrolling brawler, or Streets of Rage. You know, all those games. Castle Crashers is kind of like that, and it came out on the Xbox 360 like a really long time ago. But I'm gonna say January, but that's with absolutely no inside information at all. MH says, I'm dreading the thought of Castle Crashers online multiplayer being similar to Mario Maker 2 in latency. You know, that is definitely something that you have to worry about. If you've played Mario Maker 2 online at all, because everything is peer-to-peer, it's just really slow if you get anybody in your group who has a crappy connection. And that really bogs down the game, and you end up playing, and it gets really bad. You know, in fact, this is a game that you want to play online multiplayer. I almost think that you'd be better off getting it on PC or on PS4 than getting it on Switch. And that's coming from somebody who likes Switch enough to do almost 400 episodes of a podcast about it. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, I got an email from Jacob. Jacob says, good evening, Bill. Good morning, Jacob. They said, yesterday I traded in my Switch for the newer version. My original Switch, which I've had since launch, has been bricked for well over a year. I held off simply because I play in handheld mode 90% of the time regardless. But the upgraded chip had me at hello. GameStop gave me 175 trade-in credit for my bricked Switch, which I was extremely happy with. That is really crazy. They must have a lot of confidence that they can fix these things. And I switched switches. You know, in fact, let me pause for a second. I remember seeing a YouTube video, and I can't remember who did it, but they bought like 20 switches from eBay, 20 broken switches from eBay, and I think they were able to fix like most of them really easily. So I bet you GameStop is just gambling that they'll be able to fix whatever is wrong with your Switch fairly easily and be able to turn it around for a profit. And, you know, if they do that each time, and most of the time it turns out in their favor, then that makes a lot of sense. But $175 for one that doesn't work that's pretty bananas. All right. So anyway, they switched switches. The guy at GameStop said something about the screen running at a lower temperature at something, but I can see the difference there as well. Not as much glare for sure. I am very happy with it. I transferred my thousands of hours of saved data, no problem. I just wanted to share my experiences with you in the show, and I've been an every episode fan for a long time. Thanks for the show. It's the best Nintendo podcast out there. All right, well, Jacob, you are awesome for saying those awesome things, and thanks for letting us know about your experience. I am curious, Jacob, when you hear this, if you did you do your transfer in the store? Like, I'm curious as to how that worked. Let us know. And if anybody else has done the GameStop trade-in, what was your experience like? Let me know in a quick, short email. I also got an email from Connor. Connor says, here's a few if you're still looking for them. Oh, this is in response to me asking, what Super Nintendo games do you want on the Switch? Connor says, Here's a few if you're still looking for them. For me, a lot of them are great Super Nintendo games that were left off the Super Nintendo Classic, but I still wish were available for play somewhere. Licenses be damned. So, Chrono Trigger, Super Mario All-Stars. There's an extra comma in there, which is confusing. Cool Spot, ActRaiser, Final Fantasy IV, not the Super Nintendo Classic version, but the incredible, influential, and defining RPG. Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, Super Bases Loaded 3, Licensed to Steal. I love that name. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, Super Star Wars 1 through 3, Lufia 2, The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. You know, when that game came out, I always looked at it and thought, that game looks really, really good, but I was in my teens at the time, and I thought that I was too cool to play a Mickey Mouse game. So maybe I missed out. I'll have to try it out someday and let you guys know. Thank you very much for the email, Connor. Now we're going to look at an email from Scott, and I just splashed water everywhere. Wait. Oh, wait. Okay. I put a tweet right in the middle of this email. So I'll do the tweet first. All right, I got a tweet from Sylvester. They said, at Run Jump Stomp, I am excited for Skater XL just because I want a skate game to kill time with. I really hope the gameplay is great because the looks fall short. I'm not sure what they said there. Even the music in the trailer didn't exactly give me a skate vibe, so I'm worried. Okay, Sylvester, thank you for the tweet. I do have something that I want to say about Skater XL. I can never remember the name of it. I was watching a podcast, Nintendo Powercast. He was streaming it over on Twitch. My buddy Josh does that show, and you guys should check out his show. And he said that he got an email from the developer of that, and they said that the game runs at 60 frames per second, but for some reason Nintendo chose to use 30 frames per second footage when they posted that. So I guess the game is supposed to look a lot better than it does in that Indie World demo. So that is something to keep in mind. That's one game that jumped out at me as just didn't look very good. But hopefully that was just Nintendo using the wrong video file. Seems like kind of a big screw up. So, fingers crossed for you, Sylvester. It's not a game for me, but who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind once I see the good footage or something like that. All right, now to the email from Scott. Scott says, hey, Bill, just listen to Nintendo Switchcraft 380. You mentioned that was 10 episodes ago. You mentioned that it was okay that an extra dock doesn't include a power adapter since Nintendo is just using standard USB-C chargers now. That is actually not correct. While USB-C is indeed a standard, Nintendo's implementation of it is non-compliant and breaks the standard, which is why some third-party chargers were damaging Switches. I had forgotten about that, and you are correct. It does use a non-standard USB-C. I don't understand why Nintendo did that, but only Nintendo knows. So anyway, they continue. So it stands that Nintendo should be including a power adapter, even if it is compliant to the standards. Anyone buying a spare dock likely needs to buy a power supply as well. But really, Nintendo shouldn't be breaking USB standards to begin with. And I have got to agree with that. It's foolish of them to do that, and it's just. It's what I like to say. It's what I like to call pulling a Nintendo. All right, let's look at an email from Gavin. Gavin says, "Firstly, I want to say thank you for your hard work and dedication for putting your content out there. I look forward to your videos, podcasts, and streams for both Nintendo Switchcraft and StadiaCast every week. Thank you very much. And for those of you who don't know, I do a podcast all about Google Stadia called StadiaCast. You can find it over at youtube.com/StadiaCast." Gavin continues, last Sunday while you were streaming, we were discussing that I was experiencing Joy-Con drift, and you were interested in what Nintendo's policy was for this in the UK. Well, I called Nintendo support, and they told me they would repair the Joy-Con at no extra cost if my Switch was inside the 1-year warranty. However, as I have had my Switch since launch, this is not applicable to me. They told me that they would cover shipping to and from them. However, it would cost 29 to 35 pounds. I don't know what that is in dollars. You guys can Google it. To repair the Joy-Con. Thankfully, they sent an email with a troubleshooting guide, and it seems to have worked. And I did reach out to him, and I said, "What's the troubleshooting guide that they sent? I'll put it up on the site." It was basically just recalibrate your sticks, make sure there's no debris caught underneath anything. There really wasn't anything in there that jumped out at me as something that people wouldn't have tried yet. So I didn't actually post it to the site, but I still think it's ridiculous that in outside of Europe, Nintendo is replacing Joy-Cons from launch switches. Warranty be damned. I think it's ridiculous that they're doing that, but they're not doing it in Europe. So, Gavin, I'm sorry that you're going to have to pay to, or no, you got yours fixed on your own. Okay. Well, it's still lame. Oh my gosh, I still got 4 things to go through, and we're already at 30 minutes. Go fast, Bill. I got an email from Charles. Charles says, "Hey, I've got a question. I've got an answer. Me and a couple of close friends logged into each other's Switches and eShops. This gave each of us access to the other's games, which is awesome. But when I select a game that they have bought, I have to choose their player icon for who's playing this game. This makes me worried about messing up cloud saves. And it makes me worry about it too, Charles, because that is the reason that I have not, because I've got like over 200 games on my Switch. And if I did this same thing with my son, then he would have access to those games too on his Switch. And I have not done that because I worry about him accidentally deleting one of my cloud saves. So it's not something that I would recommend doing. Even if somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, Bill, we've done it and we've had no problems," it still just makes me nervous because Nintendo has not specifically said, "Hey, this will not influence cloud saves." Until they say that, I'm not trying it because I don't want my stuff erased. All right, I got a YouTube comment from Lily Bird. That's a fun name to say, Lily Bird. They said, "I love indie games, but for some reason I get indie burnout quicker than I get AAA burnout. Most of these blended into another," and they're talking about the Indie World Showcase. "Ori looks like Hollow Knight at first glance. My eyes are now towards the September Direct. Great job as always, RJS. I am also looking forward to possibly hearing a September Direct. I talked about that on the last episode, but you know, I can understand how you might get indie burnout, but the thing you got to remember is like the example that you gave is Ori and Hollow Knight. Very, very similar style games. They're both platformers. But then you can look at something like Ori and the Blind Forest and compare that with that weird, I think it's called Kine, where you're playing as the musical instruments. Like those are very different. So maybe what you should do is just change up the types of games that you're playing rather than going after those same things all the time. But hey, I don't know. You've got a good point. People can get burnt out on different things. I personally love indie games. Also this is the last one. We got a YouTube comment from Dean R. English, and they said, "Jump with the B button is my most important change." Oh, okay. They're talking about Dragon Quest 11. They said, "Jumping with the B button is my favorite and most important change. Personally, I am going to play in 2D mode, so resolution means nothing to me. I played a good 100 hours of Dragon Quest 11, and I thought it looked great undocked." All right, so they're basically replying to me. I said that I played a bunch of Dragon Quest 11, and when I was playing it, the resolution didn't stand up as well. But honestly, I feel like the resolution didn't stand up as well as my memory of what it looked like before. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, the 2D mode is very interesting. I was very disappointed that the 2D mode was not included in the demo. I think that that's a mistake on Square Enix's part. Although you can't really complain about that demo. It's like 10 hours long. That's longer than some games. Anyway, thank you guys for all of the comments and emails and all that stuff. If you want to become a part of the community, you can do so by joining us over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. Join the Nerd Nest. There's like 500 people over there, and they're all awesome. You can also watch the show live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp or on Saturday at youtube.com/runjumpstomp. You can get a hold of me through email or Twitter. And if you're looking to support the show, stop by runjumpstomp.com/thing. You don't forget about that giveaway, runjumpstomp.com/giveaways. The music you're hearing right now is Corneria's Star Fox remix by Noteblock. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you next time. Until then, bye-bye. All right, we're all done. But that's okay, we're not done. I still have chat to talk to. How are you guys doing? Let's see, what do we got? Gavin Butcher, I didn't pick up Marvel Ultimate Alliance. However, I'm loving Dragon Quest Builders 2. Nice. What is it about Dragon Quest Builders 2 that you're loving so much, Gavin? I'd love to hear that. Joel Mead says, Gavin, the timing of those wasn't the greatest. Seems like a lot of folks had to choose one of the two. And I absolutely agree 100%. I wish this was... Can I change this to a lighter color? It's so dark. I guess I'll just move this over here and put a light web page right here. Okay. Yeah. You know... The release schedule for games on Switch this year was just insanity. It was so crazy. There was like a dearth of stuff at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year it was just like, look under your seat, you get a game and you get a game and you get everybody gets games. I think that was a real mistake. Yeah, and then there's Fire Emblem Three Houses as well. Let's see. Yeah, those Amiibo for Shovel Knight look fantastic. There's not a lot of third-party Amiibo, which is too bad. You pre-ordered the Link's Awakening Amiibo? I don't remember what that looked like. Let me look. Oh, okay. Yeah, that one's pretty damn cool. That one's pretty cool. Look at that guy. He's so adorable. I did not get one. I might though. Look at that. That looks so cool. Oh, it's currently unavailable. It's too late now. It's too late now. So what game are you guys most looking forward to right now? I'm curious. For me, I'm looking forward to Link's Awakening more than anything else. That game just looks incredibly fun, and I never played it on Game Boy, so it's going to be really good for me because it's going to be a completely new experience, and I'm looking forward to it. Is anybody going to get Astral Chain? That comes out like in 2 days. No. That comes out in a week, I think. I think that comes out on the 31st. I'm not 100% on that, though. I could be wrong. MH is very much looking forward to Pokemon. Which one are you getting, Sword or Shield? I mean, I'm going to get Pokemon. We'll end up getting the double pack, and I'll give one to my son, and I'll take the other one that he doesn't want. Actually, no, because I'm probably going to buy it digitally. So I'll just buy mine digitally and give him whichever one he wants. But I'm going to end up getting mine digitally. Just because I don't want to have a cartridge. I hate cartridges. You getting Shield? How come? I honestly don't really know the difference. I know that like one has a different what's the word I'm looking for? The end game Pokemon Ultimates, no. Elites, no. I don't know what they're called. I can't remember now. All right, guys. That's it for me. Thanks for hanging out. I gotta go. I gotta edit this stuff, and I will see you guys next time. Joel Mead is looking forward to Link's Awakening and Luigi's Mansion, and I'm planning to get the rest off. That are all I'm planning to get the rest of the year. Not Pokemon then, Joel. Not a Pokemon guy. Well, there you go. Legendary. That's the word I was looking for. That's the word I was looking for. All right, guys. You stay awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me for the Saturday Switchcraft Live. Have a good day.